The day was January 9, 2022. As the Russia-Ukraine conflict continues to grip the world's attention, another ominous shadow looms large in the east. Millions were left stunned as the Pentagon sounded the alarm. China's intentions to invade Taiwan are more than just saber-rattling. All media were covering this news.
Now, China has intensified its bid to lay claim on the island of Taiwan. Moving on, Chinese pressure on the island nation of Taiwan continues to intensify.
There's been tension ever since the Chinese Civil War more than 70 years ago.
Could this be the spark that ignites World War III? And why does China want Taiwan? It all started on August 2, 2022. United States politician Nancy Pelosi, Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives, visited Taiwan. China doesn't want Taiwan to be seen as its own separate country. They prefer to think of Taiwan as part of China. So the Chinese government got so mad that, just hours after Pelosi's visit, they announced they would do military drills near Taiwan. It's like they wanted to show their strength. During these drills, China tested a bunch of missiles near Taiwan, which was pretty alarming. And just 4 days after that incident, China's leader, Xi Jinping, speaks of reunification with Taiwan, but with a twist. He emphasizes the word peaceful. It's like he wants Taiwan to come back to China, but without any war. But why China desire to reunification with Taiwan? To know this, we have to know the history of these two countries. In the map, we can see this is China, which covers this large area, and here, roughly 100 miles from the coast of southeast China, is island of Taiwan. The history of Taiwan spans tens of thousands of years, with the earliest evidence of human habitation. And around 3000 BC, agricultural-based cultures emerged, signaling the arrival of the ancestors of today's Taiwanese indigenous people. Later on, the Dutch colonized the south in the 17th century, while the Spanish established a settlement in the north. And in 1642, Dutch defeat Spanish and Taiwan became a Dutch colony till 1662, when Cochin defeated the Dutch. And from 1683–1895, the Qing dynasty of China ruled over Taiwan. During this time, many Chinese people migrate from Fujian to Taiwan. Due to this, Taiwan population was increased by over 2 million. And in 1895, Taiwan became part of Japan after China lost the First Sino-Japanese War. Taiwan experienced significant development during the time it was under Japanese rule. During this period, Japan invested in infrastructure, education, and industry in Taiwan, leading to modernization and economic growth. Then in 1945, when Japan lost World War II, the control of Taiwan was shifted to China. In 1947, Taiwan was under the leadership of General Chiang Kai-shek and his nationalist government. However, over time, people grew dissatisfied with leaders like Chen Yi and Chiang Kai-shek. This led to anti-government protests starting in 1947. In response, Chiang Kai-shek's government used force to suppress the protests, resulting in a tragic event known as the 2–28 incident. The event took place on February 28, 1947. The government's actions caused a significant loss of civilian lives, with estimates ranging from 18,000 to 28,000 people killed. This incident became a crucial moment in Taiwan's history and fueled the Taiwan independence movement. The 2–28 incident is remembered as a turning point that shaped the course of Taiwan's political landscape. The Chinese Civil War started in 1927, came to end in 1949 with the defeat of leader Chiang Kai-shek. Mao Zedong's Communist Party won the war and declared the establishment of People's Republic of China on the mainland China. Whereas Chiang Kai and his party supporters, about 1.5 million people, fled mainland China and went to Taiwan, where they established a new government in exile, and declared martial law. And by 1950s, there were two countries claiming to be China. One is Chiang's military dictatorship in Taiwan called Republic of China, ROC, and another is Mao's Communist China called People's Republic of China, PRC. Chiang's Republic of China claimed that the whole China was there, as their party KMT used to rule over the whole China over long time. When the Cold War began, the war between two main forces in the world, USA and Soviet Union. USA was against Mao Zedong's Communist China. That's why Chiang Kai-shek's ROC held China's seat on the UN Security Council and was recognized by many Western countries as the only Chinese government. But by 1970s, countries started to argue that, how a small island could claim to represent the whole China. People began to wonder how Taiwan could manage such a big piece of land, with millions of people living there, all the way from their island that was about 100 miles away. So, in 1971, USA allowed a UN resolution to recognize Mao's People's Republic of China as the only China. And after losing its seat, Taiwan became diplomatically isolated as many countries shifted recognition to the People's Republic of China, PRC. Following Mao Zedong's death in 1976, Deng Xiaoping assumed leadership in China. His tenure marked a significant shift as he introduced substantial economic reforms that reshaped China's economic landscape, propelling it into a prominent position on the world stage. These reforms were instrumental in transforming China into one of the major global economies. China adopted policies that opened up its economy to foreign investment, encouraged entrepreneurship, and modernized various sectors. These changes contributed to China's rapid economic growth and development, lifting millions of people out of poverty. And in 1979, a pivotal diplomatic event took place when the United States established official relations with China. As part of this diplomatic recognition, the US government acknowledged the One China policy. Both China and Taiwan experienced substantial growth over the years. However, there was a specific event that occurred in Taiwan but not in mainland China. In the late 1980s, Taiwan went through a political shift. It transitioned from being a one-party under martial law to adapting a multi-party democracy. Since 1996, Taiwan has had democratically elected presidents. And in 2000, Chen Shui-bian became the first non-KMT president of Taiwan. He was from the Democratic People's Party, and he openly backed Taiwanese independence. So, in March 4, 2005, China passed a law called the Anti-Secession Law. It basically said that China could use military force to keep Taiwan. China maintained its stance on reunification, emphasizing its desire for reunification with Taiwan. In 2013, Xi Jinping assumed the presidency of China. In 2014, the first open protest against China was seen. It was rallying against a proposed trade agreement with China, fearing it would undermine Taiwan's sovereignty. It was named as the Sunflower Movement. It was protest led by students. The movement expressed concerns about the trade deal on Taiwan's autonomy, fearing that it could lead to increased economic dependence on China and undermine the island's political sovereignty. In 2016, Tsai Ing-wen, representing the Democratic Progressive Party, was elected as the president of Taiwan. She later re-elected in 2020, achieving a record-breaking 8.2 million votes. Under her leadership, relations between Taiwan and China have become strained. Ms. Tsai has never clearly said she will officially announce Taiwan's independence. Instead, she believes that Taiwan is already independent. But only 14 countries recognize Taiwan as an independent country in the world. But Taiwan considers itself as a fully democratic country with its own independent economy, currency, military, and elected representatives. China's President Xi Jinping has said that he wants Taiwan to rejoin China, and he's hoping for this to happen by the year 2049 as part of the Chinese dream. China sees reunification with Taiwan as an opportunity to strengthen its power. As Taiwan's economy is strong, ranking among the world's top 20. It's powered by innovation, technology, and trade. A standout industry is semiconductors, led by giants like TSMC. And Taiwan's economy isn't one-dimensional. It spans biotech, tourism, and finance. Despite challenges, Taiwan keeps thriving, showing resilience and innovation. Geopolitically, Taiwan's location is key, especially for trade routes in the Asia-Pacific region. Controlling Taiwan could provide China with greater control over these routes, potentially bolstering its economic influence and power. Being a tech hub, Taiwan's semiconductor production is vital globally. So, China sees annexing Taiwan as a potential economic boost, accessing its markets and resources. There is also a strong nationalist sentiment in China regarding Taiwan, with the idea of reunification being a central theme. This sentiment can be used to garner domestic support for aggressive actions towards Taiwan, including military invasion, even if economic gains are not the primary motivation. If conflict between China and Taiwan were to escalate, existing alliances and treaties may come into play. For example, the United States has commitments to defend Taiwan under the Taiwan Relations Act. The US really cares about Taiwan's safety. They've promised to support Taiwan so it can defend itself against threats from China. This commitment is all about keeping things stable in the area and making sure Taiwan can resist any pressure from China. There's a scary possibility of things getting really bad, even involving nuclear weapons. Both China and the US have nuclear weapons, so if things spiral out of control, it could be catastrophic worldwide. Plus, the bigger picture matters too. Tensions between major players like the US, China, and Russia could affect how serious this conflict gets. It's like a big puzzle, with lots of pieces that could change the whole game.